Hello, my name is Robert Lyon. This video is for the real ones. So people that are thinking about generational wealth. If you're not thinking about generational wealth, scroll on. Okay, so if you know anything about me, you know that I build a lot of businesses. I think I've built 20 businesses by now. I also am really into finance. I have a finance business, I have a finance mentorship, and I'm also sick, so I sound extra dramatic. It's the new year. It got me kind of thinking, what's going to happen if I keep doing this for the next 20 years? What is the goal? Like I'm going to be building some crazy stuff if I, obviously if this cold doesn't kill me. And I started to just kind of go down the rabbit hole of what it would look like to build a long-term empire. Right? What is my empire going to look like? And I think it's a valuable lesson that I can teach you guys and share my thoughts on. So I hope you guys enjoy. And this is basically what I've kind of decided is the most important information. So number one, the first and most important thing is going to be your health and safety. No point even thinking about living long term or building a long-term empire if you are not taking care of your health or safety. Right? Because you can't build an empire if you're dead. Personal health is the first foundation, obviously, and then you can add on to this by getting health insurance, disability insurance, life insurance. Life insurance is definitely one of the biggest things. I have other videos on my YouTube channel where I talk about life insurance, but once you're really making money, get a life insurance policy on every member of your family, and then you want to put money into it consistently. And then what you can do is you can take the money out of your life insurance. You can borrow against your life insurance. You can use that money to buy real estate, and you can create the infinite loop, which is basically creating your own banking system. First step, build your long-term empire. This number one is health. Now we're going to go more into like the nerdy business structuring of a long-term empire. So after your health is taken care of, you want to have a family trust. A family trust provides benefits. It offers asset protection. It helps with tax efficiency. It enables a smooth generational transfer so that if you're really building this long-term empire, the biggest concept that you have to think about is, how do I think bigger? How do I build a business that's going to be generational, right? That could be around for generations so that you can pass it down to your grandkids, so your grandkids can pass it down to their kids, right? And the way that you protect this asset is by having a trust. Usually you need an attorney to set up a trust, and the fees that are typically charged is going to be like $2,000 to $5,000 for a trust, and then costs about $1,000 a year to keep the trust in good health and to keep it organized. You definitely want to have an attorney do this. Probably do it all yourself, but I would recommend getting a nice attorney. Next, after you have your family trust, you're going to basically set up a holding corporation. Acts as a management company, centralizes operations and strategy, can provide liability and protection, handles shared services across the property and businesses. You have the family trust, which is typically going to be just you, or you can put your family members in there if you want. Then underneath the family trust is going to be a holding corporation. Okay, and this is a corporation, and it just basically literally does what it says. It holds everything. It is the actual entity that everything underneath it will be based on. Holding corporation usually costs about $800 for state filing fee. Attorney fees about $3,000. Annual state fee $500, and then you'll need a registered agent. Registered agent is basically like who owns it and who represents the company. If there's any conversations or anything like that. Okay, so that's how you set up a holding corporation underneath your family trust. And then now we can finally get to the fun stuff. Next, underneath the holding corporations, you're going to have all your LLCs. You want a separate LLC for each business and then for each property. All right, this basically is signifying that this is its own financial entity. Each LLC is its own thing. This will help you if anything goes wrong, like you own a car wash and someone gets injured at the car wash, then that LLC is its own financial entity, right? It's not going to be able to go outside of that, and it's a limited liability company, so it's protecting from the other companies. This is also going to make your accounting a lot easier. And you're going to want to basically build that banking relationship for each LLC separately. And then if you ever need to sell the business or you want to sell a piece of property, that LLC, you could just sell the LLC. And that makes it a lot easier for you to move your money around and sell your assets. All right, it makes it a lot more structured, okay? Each LLC usually costs about $500. You could pay an attorney, or you just use my link down below, which is just use Busy, and they'll do it all for you for $500 pretty much. Then you got to pay a yearly fee, and you usually have to have a registration agent, which is usually in the same fee setting up the LLC. So having somebody who represents your entity is always a good idea, but usually it'll just be you. You want to make sure your lawyer, every couple years, make sure everything is still up to par and is working properly. You want to have a really strong accounting system. Accountants is everything, especially when you're scaling businesses, when you're buying property, when you're doing anything with a lot of money. Someone needs to be accounted for. Someone needs to be accounting for every penny And that's really big. This is also really important to have asset protection, and then you want to document everything very clearly. Really good finances, records recorded properly. If you really build out this system, that you're on top of it essentially, and that you're keeping track of track your numbers. That's the gist of it. Track your numbers, track your paperwork. It's really important. And then this is to set all of it up. You're looking at about $12,000 to $30,000. Okay, and then every year you're probably gonna have to pay $3,000 to $8,000. None of this probably matters to most of you guys, but if you're really trying to build an empire, this is important stuff. And then so basically, when you're doing this, just start with the essentials. You don't need to have everything set up. Use a lawyer. Find a lawyer. Don't find one who's gonna rip you off. Shop around. Find somebody you like, who you want to work with for the long run. Try and bundle everything. Work with an attorney to package it all in one, so you don't have a bunch of different attorneys. Okay, so that was just kind of like, high level stuff. Just really wanted to give you guys the numbers. Think about it. Think about bigger. What would your empire now look like? But now I want to drain it back down to the most crucial part, right? The day-to-day of your business, of thinking about what it would look like if you're going to build this long-term empire. What do we start with, right? What is your business and LLC? Because it all has to start from cash flow. Like, unless you're inheriting a bunch of money, then this is probably all set up for you. But for most people like myself and like you, maybe, you're starting from nothing and you're building it up, right? And you want to build a long-term empire, right? You want to keep building businesses. You want to keep staying in business. You want to get larger, and you want to make sure that it's all set up correctly. So this is how I would go about thinking about this from a business level, and think a little bit bigger, okay? Okay, so obviously we went over, you need to start with the family trust. You need to have a corporation, but these are the things you should be thinking about. First of all, your business just has to work, right? It just flat out has to work. There can't be parts of your business that are like, you can't be making a ton of money, but then the fulfillment doesn't actually deliver any products, right? Or you can't, it just has to work. Every part of it, every aspect, from marketing to sales to fulfillment to upsells to profitability, it has to work. So if you don't have a business that works, start there. Every part of it has to work too. It can't just be really great on sales and no fulfillment, or it can't just be a really great product but you have no sales. Every part has to work. So that's just plain. Your business can't be a scam, right? You can't be making a bunch of money. There can't be some get rich quick thing. This has to stand the tests of time, or be able to expand, right? But it can't be a scam, and you can't be doing anything illegal. Another thing you could probably add here is you can't just be getting a ton of money from like investors and then never have the business see any ROI. That's another thing I would add to this. But you can't, no part of your business can be a scam. Okay, no part of your business can be illegal if you're trying to build an empire. Okay, so these are the first things you have to start and think about. And then obviously your business has to be cash flowing, right? This has to be a behemoth of a business, or have the potential to be a behemoth of a business. All right, I would say if your business is not making more than $200,000 a year, I would trash it, unless it's really takes none of your time, right? Or it serves some other purpose. Okay, but if it's less than $200K a year, it's not worth the investment. It's not worth your time, unless it can grow to more. Now, if you're growing and you're stuck at $200K, that's fine. But if it only seems to cap out at $200,000 a year, I don't think it's worth your time. It has to be making more than this. Ideally, even $1 million a year is what you would be hopefully shooting for to actually make this make sense. Now we're going to really get into like the most important information that I'll probably ever teach you. Your business needs to own everything. It has to own everything. I mean, you have to own your leads. What do I mean by own your leads? You have to own all your own data. Okay? If all of your leads are just Facebook subscribers, or YouTube subscribers, and then YouTube shuts you down, you don't own any of those leads anymore. They don't have anything. Sure, it's on that platform, but you cannot trust these social media services, because they will shut you off like that. If your entire business is on Amazon, you don't have a real business. You have a side hustle. You have to own all the leads. You have to own all the traffic. You have to own all the data. Okay, this is how you have a long-term empire. This is not how you make a side hustle. And now you have to think bigger, okay? And I've learned this problem so many times. Okay, I've started so many businesses where I didn't own the entire process. Okay, my biggest business failure was a wholesaling company. Okay, I had tons of employees that were working for pennies. I had an unlimited marketing budget. I had investors, and the business model was wrong though. Wholesaling as a business was not the right business model, because I had no control. I had no control over the sellers. I had no control over the buyers. All I had was a piece of paper that I would flip. And yes, I made a lot of cash, but it was never going to be able to become a long-term business, because the business model was flawed, because I didn't own anything. The only thing I owned was the marketing and the contracts. That's the only thing I owned, and that was not enough to build a long-term empire. So you have to think about and maybe do a SWOT analysis on your business. Think about every aspect of your business and analyze the parts you don't own, and then contemplate developing parts of those business that you can own to be part of it. So like these are verticals. If I was smart and I was successful with that wholesaling business, the next thing would have been to own a title company. And then the next thing would have been to own a virtual assistant company who would do all the cold calling for me. And then I would buy up all the real estate, right? And then I would have my own mail delivery company to send out letters. And then I would have my own data from all of the real estate places, where I would have my own system where I would get the data for free from the state. Okay, and I would build businesses that did these things. Then I would have owned everything, as opposed to owning nothing in the business process. You need to have complete control of every aspect of your business as much as humanly possible. Now, again, you can make a lot of money breaking these rules, but if you're trying to build a long-term empire, or you're trying to have a business that will stand the tests of time and be able to pass down to your grandchildren, this is what you need. And then you have to own 100% of the entire business. Okay? I've done lots of businesses. I've had lots of shitty business partners. I currently have a great business partner, so that breaks that mold. But you have to own, like if it's going to go into your trust, if it's going to be part of your long-term empire, you must maintain and own 100% of the entire business, okay? All these little Padawans or whatever, they all want equity now, and they think that equity is like something that they deserve or they're entitled to. But the purpose of a business is to serve the brave entrepreneur who started the business, and the family and the lifestyle of that entrepreneur that took the risk to build that business. And you must maintain 100% ownership of your entire business to stay in control, to stay as the big chief in it, to put it into your long-term empire build. If you give 10% of your equity to some jabroni, and then you're trying to sell it to your grandkids, or you die and you're trying to pass it on to your grandkids, the risk of that person trying to get more than their 10% because they have some equity is too high. You cannot, if you do have a partner, right? Again, like I said, I have a great partner now. Then that does not go into your trust. That does not go into your long-term empire play. Okay? Maybe you negotiate. Maybe once it gets bigger, it can. But you should fight like hell to maintain 100% of the entire business and 100% of all your real estate deals too. Don't buy real estate with partners. That'll screw you over in the long run. What if your partner wants to sell and you don't want to sell? Well, the partner still wants to sell. They're going to push you to sell. They're going to pressure you to sell. It's just going to be extra stress. You don't need that. So fight like hell to maintain 100% ownership of your business. Same with real estate. Now, there's always going to be banks involved and debt. We'll talk about that later. But you should also fight like hell to own the asset. Okay? Own the property. The goal of your business, even if it's an online business, even if it's a digital business, once your business accumulates enough cash, you should obviously put some into the life insurance policy, own as much as you can of your business, but your business should own its own real estate for a number of reasons. For tax purposes, for getting loans, for owning more, right? For building your empire. Even if it's an app, your business should establish enough cash to own a physical location. You don't have to work in the physical location. You could even rent out the physical location. But you should always, this is how you should do your businesses, okay? You should build business credit. Use the business credit. You should stack all of the cash. Stack as much cash as humanly possible. You should use the cash to buy appreciating. Obviously, the money should first go to your team and your talent and paying people in your company. But the second thing is the money should go to buying assets that are going to go up in value. So the business goal should be to own its own real estate, to own its own property. And like I was just saying, business credit is kind of the holy grail of credit. Okay, so you go to Walmart, it's something like 90% of everything in the store was built on business credit, and then they sell it for like a 3% markup. And they live and breathe in there. But then they own the properties and they cash flow like crazy. They keep all the cash. That's how you build a business. And it's all business credit. So like if a bill doesn't get paid, it's not like the Walmart family has to worry about that bill. It's a Walmart debt. Walmart is its own entity. So you should build from the very beginning. You should start your LLC as fast as possible, because the age of everything is helpful. For a corporation, you need like 6 years. For an LLC, you need 2 years. So you should have started your LLC like 2 years ago if you wanted to build credit. And then you want to build relationships with the banks. Okay. But you never want to over leverage your debt to the banks, because then the banks will have their leverage to take your business, which goes against the rules of building a long-term empire. So only take out debt that you can afford. But then you do want to take out the debt that you can afford, and you want to use that, so you're using other people's money so that the business can create cash mountains to buy assets, a long-term empire. So you should probably try to copyright and trademark everything. So copyright, protect your original creative work. If you create a logo, or you create a brand character, copyright that. If you create a new way to do something, copyright it. If you create a book for your business, if you create music for your business, software for your music, photos for your business, copyright them. Copyright only costs $65, all right, once you know how to do that. Trademark all of your funnels, all your marketing stuff. All right, trademark it so that you can maybe sell it to other people, and it's trademarked so they don't just steal it from you, they can buy it from you. The idea is, like, you want to build this business, you want to make it a giant cash flow asset buying thing, and then you want to build a moat. You want to build a moat around your business so that all the fucking jealous people won't steal it from you. And then you can also do patents. Okay, you can get patents on your inventions, patents on your process, on your SOPs. And then you can basically sell this. Like the biggest thing that I think about when I think about copyrights and trademarks and owning everything is the McDonald's and the ice cream people. Okay, so McDonald's, obviously one of the best business models in the entire world or ever in history. But there was some guy when they first started who owned the ice cream machines in the McDonald's franchise. That was literally one of the only things, because McDonald's was all about, burgers and fries, and then they wanted to add the ice cream thing, and instead of doing it in-house, they basically allowed somebody to own the ice cream machines in all of the McDonald's. And then somewhere along the lines, there was some clause or something where every time an ice cream machine would break, it wouldn't be McDonald's who would have to pay to fix it. It would be this ice cream company who would have to pay to fix it. And then somehow there was some contract where every time that one of them breaks, the ice cream company gets paid by McDonald's, and they make a lot of money. So then, and now whoever owns the ice cream machines wants them to break. Okay, so every time you go to McDonald's and the ice cream machine is broken, just know that some guy in like Arkansas or somewhere is just making bank because that stupid thing is broken and they want it to break. That's why there's never ice cream at McDonald's. So you can look up that story. It's kind of an interesting story. But what I'm trying to say is own everything, patent every process, and don't give it out to the ice cream people. Any trade secrets, protect your information. Example, recipes, customer lists, manufacturing processes. You want to have a lot of NDAs, right? So if you have people that join your company, make them sign NDAs. Okay, they don't really work, but at least you'll have something scary you can send people. And then IP protection. So this is for like software and stuff. Make sure that whoever's working on your code or working on your business knows that this is your intellectual property, right? And not to just go and give it to other people or sell it to other people. Now we're going to kind of double tap on some things. Okay. Vertical integration. Okay, so you want to own your supply chain. This goes back to owning every step of the process. Own your supply chain as much as possible. You want to control the distribution channels as much as possible. I mean, think about why did Jeff Bezos take out such a huge bet on creating his own delivery mailing service? It's so that he builds the moat. Nobody else can fuck with Amazon. There's no other drones out there, that are owned by Amazon, or vans out there. They're now competing and have planes and vans and truck, and they're delivering their own packages, and they don't need UPS or the federal government anymore. They created their own distribution channel so that they can get you the product faster, so that they have no competitors. That's why Jeff Bezos is one of the richest people in the world. And then start building supporting businesses so you don't have as many vendors, right? Find your own locations in malls so you don't have to outsource everything. And then create your own marketing company. Create your own maintenance company. Create your own accounting company inside your business. Okay, so vertical integration strategy. This is huge. Next thing is you should have a risk management part of your business, right? Especially if you're trying to build this for long term, you want to do a SWOT analysis all the time. And you want to have, your business should have multiple streams of revenue. If you just have one big buyer or one stream of revenue, it's going to break at some point. You should also always have an emergency cash reserve. Have multiple suppliers. Don't have just one supplier. Same thing with marketing. Don't just have one marketing channel. Have multiple marketing channels. And do regular security audits. Okay, I think this is a really big one. So human capital. Have really strong employment contracts. Okay, make sure they have a non-compete agreement. Make sure all your IP information is not theirs. They don't get to touch it. They may learn about it, but they don't get to touch it. Make sure you have good training and development programs. Have key person insurance. If somebody is a big part of your company, it actually is an investment for the company to give you health insurance so that you live a long time, so that you work at the company for a long time. And then have benefits for people that stick with you. You want to own all your core technology, own your own infrastructure. So own all your technology, do regular audits, make sure you own everything, make sure you have licenses. Okay, this is the big one, banking and finance. At least I think it's big. You want to build strong banking relationships, especially with each LLC, your corporation, everything. You want to have a really good line of credit with all these banks, and you want to pay them back, and you want to make sure that every time you use the money that you're partners with the banks and build a great financing so that you can have business credit. You also want to own your own merchant processing if possible. I can't tell you how many headaches I have right now with different merchant processors shutting me down and then freezing my money. It's one of the biggest pains in the ass of 2024 and 25. You want to create internal financing capabilities so you can finance yourself. So you want to save up enough money that if you want to take a loan, you don't have to go borrow. You can use your own money. And then consider private banking relationships. Create network effects where possible. Control resources and location, build brand moats, develop exclusive partnerships and contracts. You want to make sure you have your own documenting systems, you have your own SOPs, you have your own process, you have to build a scalable system, regular compliance audits and all that stuff. All of these are extremely important for building a sustainable and defensible business empire. Right? That's what this is all about. So start thinking about your business empire. Here's some other tips that we can do. Maybe make some political and community relationships so that you have your mitts into the government so the government can't shut you down. Geographic strategies. Find areas where you'll be able to make more money, right? Be in big demographic places where people will see your brand consistently. Knowledge management. Make sure you track all your information. You have IPs and everything else. You want to stay future proofing. Run scenarios. Stay ahead of the trends. Consider climate and environmental impacts. Plan on technology disruptions. And then wealth preservation. Diversify across different asset classes. That's why you should buy real estate for your business. Have a lot of good insurance. Create multiple revenue streams. Have good leadership and a good culture. If you have a good culture, people will like to work with you. You'll do things that people enjoy. And most importantly, this is the biggest part. Think decades, okay? Not years. Think bigger, right? Think what is this empire going to do? Make decisions for the long-term sustainability. Build systems that outlast individuals. Create transferable value. Focus on enduring competitive advantages. Always consider the next generation. So I hope this was helpful. I think this is cool stuff. I think this is good to think about. I want you to think more about what is your long-term empire going to be? What is your next 20, 50, 100 years going to look like? And what is that going to come, right? And start building it today.